Okay, how do you be more consistent? This is such a great question, and I'm really glad and impressed that you're even here watching this video, because it might not even sound like the most exciting topic, but it tells me that you understand something that most people either don't understand or they just don't really want to understand. And that is this. If you have not achieved the results that you want in your life, in your body, losing weight, gaining weight, whatever it is, it's not because you didn't have the right information at your fingertips. It's not because, oh, you tried the wrong exercise program. And it's not even because your dog died a little bit younger than you would like him to. It's because of one thing. You were not consistent enough for long enough. Period. So I honor you for wanting to watch this video. I've got 3 points for you today that I hope will really change the way you think about this and level up your ability to be consistent over the long term. Number one, think in 5-year chunks. This concept, what I'm really getting at is play the long game. And it's so basic, it's so simple, it's literally a children's story. The rabbit and the hare. The tortoise and the hare. You've all heard that story. And the tortoise understood, or at least was compelled to understand, since he was a slow creature, that the game of change is a marathon, not a sprint. And if you understand that, you're going to set yourself up for success. And it sounds super basic, but stay with me, don't tune me out, because I bet you've made this mistake before. I know I have. Sometimes we're just like, oh, I want to get in shape for summer, or I want to lose this weight for X event, or something like that. And it's like, anytime I hear someone saying those things or like thinking in that way, I'm like, in 5 years, you are going to be exactly where you are right now. If not worse, probably worse because you get older. So don't do that. Don't do that. Please, please. Think in 5-year chunks. If you're not willing to commit to that lifestyle, that nutrition, that workout for 5 years, then you gotta dig a little bit deeper, think a little bit harder, get a little bit more information, experiment a little bit more, find something that you can commit to, and really look for the things that the magic happens where it's like, because obviously this is always going to take work, but if you're like trying to eat this diet that you hate, no one does that for 5 years. Speaking of that, if you call it a diet, do you think you're going to be doing it in 5 years? I guarantee you not. How many people have you ever heard say, I'm on a diet, and they've been on that diet for 5 years? So I try and avoid even using the word diet because it just has that connotation. Okay, point number 2, level up your motivation points. Now, most people, the most thought that they ever get to the topic of motivation is that they don't have it. And I gotta tell you, motivation is not something that you have or you don't have. It's something that you create. It's something that you build. It's something that you strategize. Motivation, cultivation, you hear me talk about it all the time. I'll say it again and again and again, because the motivated people of the world are not just lucky, they plan it. They know what their recipe for motivation is, and they follow that consistently. So I'm going to give you a couple really simple points from the field of psychology about motivation. Let's talk about pain points and pleasure points. It's critical that you really understand these and leverage them on yourself to ensure your long-term consistency and success. What I mean by pain points is, if I don't make this change now, how is it going to feel negatively? Like, how's it going to hurt me today, tomorrow, next year, 5 years, and 20 years down the road? And write those things down. Like literally, get out your journal right now and write them down. Because we have this tendency to avoid living in the pain that we cause ourselves. We're like, oh yeah, that habit might hurt me long term, but your mind is really good at shutting that out super, super ASAP, like way quick. Don't let it do that, because it's more comfortable for the moment. This is an uncomfortable exercise, by the way. but it will move you long term. And a really awesome strategy that I recommend to everybody is involve people. Involve people in those pain points, psychologically speaking. So people are more averse to embarrassing themselves in front of others than just disappointing yourself. You know what I mean? Like, you know, you've got that thing where it's like, oh yeah, I don't want to let myself down. But if 5 other people knew, like you had told them, this is what I'm doing, this is when I'm doing it by, and they knew that, how much more likely are you to not fail? Like way more likely, right? And if that doesn't motivate you, then say, and if I don't do this, I give each of you $50. You're gonna do it, especially if you talk to them as a group. But anyway, involve other people. Involve other people, and this applies to the other side of the spectrum. Pleasure points. Whether you're talking about pain points or pleasure points, let me tell you an observation really quick. People will always do more for others than they'll do for themselves. You know, I recently had the blessing of becoming a dad for the first time, and I know you guys are thinking like, what? This kid is like 12, right? No, I'm older than that. But anyway, I can tell you, you know, from my perspective, and especially seeing my wife, it's like, whoa, the things that she does, the things that I do for our little daughter, all you parents know, I'm speaking the truth right now. They're like, there's no way in heck that you would be doing those things, going to that amount of work for yourself. Am I right? It would take a massive amount of motivation and ambition to do it for yourself, but it's like, hey, if you've got a little baby that depends on you, it's like not even a choice, right? It just happens. It's automatic. So whether or not you have kids, you have family, you have friends, you have a community, you have people out there counting on you and your contribution, your service. So what do you want that service to be? You know, really think about that. And I can tell you, if you've been given the gift of a body that's healthy and capable, you know, I really think that whoever it is that gave us that gift expects something of that. And so ask yourself, what's my level of service that I want to offer to my family, to my friends, to the world? And how does that depend on my health? Go out there, ask yourself those questions. They're a little bit of tough questions, but I think your family really deserves it. Number 3, last but not least, set up your triggers and routines. You might be thinking, oh, I'm like not a routine person. I'm like a flowy person. We're like, no. If you want to be consistent, you are literally, by definition, you're talking about a routine. By definition, consistency, doing something every day, that's a routine. So if you want to lose weight, if you want to put on muscle, if you want to reach that next level of health and vibrancy, I'm telling you, you must become a routine person. Absolutely no question. So how do you do that? I have a friend that I really admire. This is like inspiring, just even watching him. Every night, he has this routine where he goes through and he'll pack up all his stuff for the next day. He'll make a shake, he'll prepare his food. It's all in boxes, it's in the fridge. It's like everything is there. And the reason why is because he goes to the gym first thing in the morning. And then he'll go to school, and it's all really early. And you guys know, it's like, okay, you wake up in the morning and you had a crappy night because, you know, this guy, my friend, he has a kid too. So crappy nights happen. How likely are you to be motivated in the morning to do all those things? You're like, or nah, I'll stop by McDonald's on my way to work because I don't have time, or something like that. You've got to be smart and proactive and think ahead of time, where do I get tripped up? Because it happens in the same points of your routine every single day. That leads me to talking about triggers as well. So set up your routines. Within those routines, I want you to think about what triggers do you have. In psychology, a trigger is something that we can add to a normal behavior that we always do, a pattern that we normally run. We add a trigger to it that changes our behavior. It triggers something, just like it sounds. So, for example, a trigger would be, okay, before you go to bed at night, put your gym clothes and shoes right in front of your bedroom door. So literally, to leave the bedroom, you have to bend down, pick them up, and then it's super easy to put it on. Because you know this intuitively, sometimes in the morning, if you're not a morning person, your motivation is a little bit weak. And that's not abnormal. That is normal. It's to be expected. So plan on it, because at those times, it's like every little thing, just the tiniest barrier of having to look, bumble around in the dark, looking for your gym clothes under the mess of all of this stuff that's built up all week. It's just a little barrier, but you've probably got a couple of those little barriers, and those all add up, and pretty soon you're like, well, I'll go to the gym tomorrow, And then, of course, we know what that really means. So, triggers. Where do I go normally? What's my normal routine? How do I set up a trigger so literally I could be an idiot walking through my day and I'm going to stumble onto this trigger that's going to cause the behavior that I want to start incorporating? Whether that's diet, exercise, yoga, any other practice that you can think of. Guys, those are 3 points for today. How to be consistent long-term. Thank you so much for watching. Thanks so much for all your support. Go ahead, if you haven't, hit that subscribe button, and I'll be getting you out some more good free content about how to achieve your health and fitness goals this year.